Alright guys, and according to our news right here from Times Tabloid, it says XRP Escrow will take another 9 years to be fully used based on the latest figures. Alright, now what if I told you that the biggest mystery in crypto isn't where Bitcoin's creator is hiding, but rather a hidden vault containing 38 billion tokens that resets itself every single month. Right now, the entire crypto community is buzzing about a massive revelation shared by finance commentator Market 24/7 on X. Everyone has been waiting for the day Ripple finally empties its supply gates so XRP can run completely free. So, the standard math said we only had about 3 years left of these massive monthly unlocks. But the new data just completely flipped the script. It turns out we are looking at another 9 long years before the escrow is completely empty. So in this video, we are breaking down the hidden math behind this 9-year extension, how it rewrites the rules of supply and demand, and what this actually means for the future value of your bags. But before we continue, let's check XRP's daily chart time frame. So we can see XRP is at the price of 1.1291, and here on our daily chart time frame, its current candlestick is playing between our major resistance 1.2234 and minor support at 1.0897. And based on my analysis, it seems that XRP in the following days will still continue to move sideways. Based on our indicators, we still have a very low or very weak momentum, which is either on the bearish or bullish side. In this kind of condition, the market always ends up in a sideways movement or consolidation. Right? Now let's go back to the news and let's answer the very first question about how does the XRP escrow actually function behind closed doors. To understand why this 9-year timeline matters, we have to look back at how this giant machine was built. Way back in December 2017, Ripple took 55 billion XRP and locked them inside 55 separate smart contract vaults. The rule was simple. Every single month, 1 billion XRP automatically unlocks and hits the counter. The goal was to give big investors peace of mind, showing them that Ripple couldn't just dump all their tokens onto the market at once on a random Tuesday. So here's my opinion. I have always viewed the creation of this escrow as a double-edged sword. On one side, it provides amazing structural stability that traditional finance loves. On the other hand, it has created a perpetual dark cloud of phantom supply over retail investors' heads. People see that 1 billion number every month and panic, thinking that market is being flooded, which naturally holds back short-term psychological momentum. Now, the next question is, why is the depletion timeline suddenly spanning 9 more years? If you do the basic math right now, there are about 38.15 billion XRP left in those vaults, right? If 1 billion drops every month, you'd think the vault goes completely empty in a bit over 3 years, right? Wrong. The post by Market 24/7 highlights a massive trend that completely breaks the math. Ripple has established a strict repeating habit of taking 60 to 8% of that unlocked money and locking it right back up into a new vault. So here's my opinion. My take on this is that Ripple is acting like a central bank managing a delicate economic ecosystem. They aren't dumping, they are dripping. By putting roughly 700 million XRP straight back into the vault every single month and only letting 200 to 400 million enter the actual ecosystem for operations, they are intentionally extending the runway. It's a brilliant chess move for corporate longevity, but for the average investor waiting for a sudden supply squeeze, it means we have to prepare for a much longer game. Now, what happens to the market cap as this supply dripping continues? Because Ripple is slowly feeding the market instead of forcing a massive influx, the circulating supply grows at a predictable, steady crawl. This creates a very unique economic environment. Instead of a sudden shock to the system, the token behaves like a slowly expanding web, integration by integration. From my vantage point, watching the market, this controlled release schedule means XRP's price movements will be driven almost purely by incoming utility rather than artificial scarcity. Since we know the supply isn't going to vanish overnight, the valuation has to be pushed up by massive cross-border transaction volume and central bank partnerships. It shifts the asset's identity from a speculative trading token into an institutional infrastructure asset. Now, can Ripple suddenly change the rules of the escrow game? The 9-year projection is a mathematical reality. It is a mathematical reality based on what Ripple is doing right now, but it is definitely not set in stone. Company executives have openly discussed in the past that they have total control over what they do with those unlocked tokens. They could theoretically burn them, use alternative distribution methods, or accelerate the releases if global institutional demand suddenly skyrockets. So, personally, I don't think Ripple will ever change this strategy unless they are absolutely forced to by a major regulatory shift. The current system gives them the perfect operational chest of money to fund global acquisitions, build out infrastructure, and incentivize partner banks. They have built a beautiful loop: unlock, use a little to expand the empire, and save the rest for a rainy day in 2030s. Now, so for our overall conclusion, when you look at the entire picture, the 9-year escrow timeline shared by Market 24/7 right here shouldn't be viewed as a disappointment. It is a reality check that separates the serious investors from the overnight moon boys. It proves that the foundation of this ecosystem is being preserved for a decade-long financial shift. So, my final thoughts on this are simple. Patience is the highest paying strategy in this market. The escrow isn't a dump mechanism. It's a stability anchor. Knowing that Ripple has the ammunition to sustain and build their global network for another 9 years gives me immense confidence in the network's survival and gradual growth. We are moving away from the wild west of crypto and straight into a highly structured corporate financial era. Don't let the long timeline scare you. Let it show you just how early we are still today. So keep your eyes on the utility, watch the monthly relock data, and stay disciplined. And this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one. Or you might just as well watch this next recommended video right here.